I'm Chris Meaney of Fantasy Sports Network, and I'm here with running back of the Chicago Bears, Matt Forte, who is currently touring on behalf of the official laptop of the NFL, Lenovo, and their online video series, Fantasy Online College. And Matt, you are a professor at FOC, professor of poning, and one of the classes you teach is How to Embarrass Linebackers 101. Now, I think we know why you are the teacher of that class, but is there a specific play that stands out to you where you really got the best of a linebacker?
There's been a lot of them. You know, most of the time it's just being in an open field, one-on-one, and just as a running back, you got to make guys miss, and that's how you get big plays. So just being shifty out in the open field, and there's not one that particularly sticks out. Maybe I guess my first touchdown run as a rookie. First game was a Sunday night game against the Indianapolis Colts, and I ran up the middle, and actually it wasn't a linebacker, it was a DB, but it's all defenders. But I made a guy miss, and I went like 50 yards for a touchdown. It was my first one in the NFL, and it was pretty cool to do that on Sunday Night Football.
The first one always sticks. Now, another class that you teach at FOC is positive linebacker encouragement. What advice could you possibly give to a linebacker to keep you in check?
I don't want to give away all the secrets or anything like that, so I'll just kind of give them that positive motivation, like, hey, you can do it. You'll be all right. You'll be good, like that, which doesn't really translate over to giving away all the secrets of what the running backs do.
One of the PSAs you did for FOC, you were quoted by saying you love people coming up to you to say, run harder, I need more fantasy points, what are you doing out there? How much of a reality is that for you?
Every day, especially if I'm out in the public every day. If somebody's gonna say, hey man, I got you on fantasy, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and I kind of look at them like, I need you to get out of my face right now because I'm not worried about your fantasy team. But, it's just funny that everybody's so involved in fantasy football and it's grown so much. But, everybody loves it. And, 99% of the time, a comment out, in the public, it's going to be about fantasy football.
How much has that grown over the past few years? Like, how big has fantasy sports become since you first got into the league?
It's grown a ton. I mean, when I was a rookie and I came in, it wasn't really like popular about fantasy football and stuff. Then it kind of got popular the next year, and then now there's like these websites where you can go on and do like one-day games and stuff, and you can do all kind of things with fantasy football now, and it's just grown so much, and I think it's only going to get bigger.
Why did you want to be a part of Fantasy Online College? I know you've done some acting before in the past. Is that something that really interests you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the league, which is obviously based off of fantasy football and how funny that is. And, I think it's just fun to do because it's kind of like you're making fun of fantasy football people who, are owners and stuff. But at the same time, you're kind of just, making light of it because how seriously the, regular people, the public takes it.
Now, you say you've got all kinds of comments throughout your career, but
Yeah.
what is one of the worst things somebody actually said to you?
Nobody really says anything to me in person, but on Twitter is the worst. They always tweet you stuff like, you suck, or, you didn't get me enough points, or just because you didn't score, 3 touchdowns in one game or something, or, maybe you didn't score at all in one game. You're not going to score every game. It's, kind of inevitable. So, those people on Twitter, they say crazy stuff like that, but they never tell you anything in person like that, so I just block them.
On the flip side of that, what are some of the best comments that you received? Maybe one that really stood out to you. Wow, that was nice. Maybe I'll score a touchdown for you next week.
Just, people who say, man, I appreciate everything you do. They'll say they're a fan of a different team, but they're like, I respect what you do out on the field because you're a good running back or something like that. So, I mean, that's all that you can ask for is to gain respect of, others, even though they may not be a fan of this specific team that you play for.
Do you play fantasy sports?
I played once before, and I wasn't very good because I just so busy during the season doing stuff, and, it just gets to where, like, it's hard to take care of your lineup and stuff. And I had a pretty decent team, I think, but I did well, but I didn't end up winning the league or anything like that.
Did you draft yourself?
I didn't get a chance to.
No, you were taken early.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to.
Now, you mentioned that you don't really play fantasy sports, but do the Chicago Bears have a fantasy football team that they do every single year?
No, it was through the NFLPA. They
Okay.
did it, and it was guys from all over the league, like Maurice Jones-Drew was in it, and a bunch of other guys were in there too. But as the Bears, team, nobody like gets together as a team like, hey, we're gonna have a league and do this. No, I don't think we have enough time, together to do that.
Have any of your friends called you up on a Saturday and said, listen, I looked online, you're listed as questionable for Sunday night's game. I really need to know, are you going to play? I got to put you in my lineup.
Nah, not injury-wise, because they know I wouldn't even answer them anyway. But I've had them always call me up like, hey man, I'm trying to get you on fantasy, or like before their draft, like I'm trying to pick you or something like that, or they'll tell me, or they'll like call me from, or FaceTime me like from their draft or something like that, and they show me like the draft board and stuff, and like, you know, somebody actually this year picked me right before one of my friends was going to pick, and like he threw a fit. It was crazy.
A question outside of fantasy football, Matt. Heading into week 4, it was really known in the fantasy football community that the Oakland Raiders struggled to cover tight ends. Now, heading into that week, was that a game plan for the Chicago Bears, or is it just a matter of, hey, Martellus Bennett is wide open in the end zone, you got to get him the ball?
It's kind of sticking to your own game plan that you already had, and you know, it is kind of like a copycat league where if another team has success in this area, the next team's going to try it, but obviously that team is going to be working on stopping, you know, the success that the other team had in that area. So it's not always going to work that way. So we don't, you know, put all our eggs in that one basket. And you know, obviously Martellus is, you know, one of the premier tight ends in the league and was able to have a lot of success last Sunday. So it did work out for us, but we don't necessarily, you know, put all of it into one, you know, specific area.
Now, Matt, you're nowhere near the end of your career, but you're obviously a little bit into acting. You're doing Fantasy Online College. Is this something you're looking forward to, maybe a career path at the end of football?
Yeah, I think I could do some stuff like that. I would probably limit it to like comedy stuff, because everybody who knows me personally is like, I'm like the silliest dude that they know, and I always making them laugh and stuff. So, and it's fun, you know, to do that type of stuff. So either that or an action hero, I think I'd be pretty good at.
What action hero would you like to be?
I don't know. I have to make up my own guy, you know, kind of like how The Rock did. You know, he's become like a real, you know, action, you know, type of actor.
Thanks, Matt, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Classes have just begun at FOC. For more information on how to win a trip to the Pro Bowl, an autograph from Matt Forte himself, or an engraved logo on your Lenovo laptop, check out lenovo.com/NFL. Stay tuned for a look at Matt Forte from the web series Fantasy Online College, courtesy of Lenovo. For Matt Forte, I'm Chris Meaney of the Fantasy Sports Network.
Hey, I'm Odell Beckham Jr.
I'm DeMarco Murray.
I'm Matt Forte.
As a fantasy owner, it's important to communicate with the players you've drafted.
I get messages from owners all the time letting me know how I can help their team. Run harder.
Catch everything,
Jump higher.
Y'all even communicate during the game.
which is a perfect time for me to read tweets or text.
Talking with my fantasy owners is the most important thing in my life,
Even more than football.
So feel free to contact me anytime.
day or night.
With foul language in all caps.
I know that's just passion.
My Twitter handle is
At MattForte22.
@OBJ_3.
@DeMarco Murray.